Did it again. Wow. Hey, everybody. Pastor Matt here. April 23rd, 2023. Super excited about this morning. Not a lot of strobe lights and smoke machines on our end. What I'm excited about is what God's going to show us in His Word this morning. So for our Sunday school class, we're actually going through a book. I think I mentioned this last week, called Knowing God by J.I. Packer. Man, this is like revisiting an old friend. I loved this book in college, and I've revisited it numerous times since then. And college was the early 90s, which is really starting to kind of hit me right now. But that's all right. We're going to be covering chapters 3 and 4, talking about knowing and being known, and then dealing with the second commandment, idolatry, images, and how we've got to be careful when it comes to that. But more on that later. So, one of the things that I've been thinking about is legacy. So I turned 50 a couple of years ago. And ever since then, it's like, if we end up going the trajectory that most people end up going, then this will be my last full decade of work, Lord willing. If there's another decade for me and another, that's great. I plan on preaching in whatever capacity there may be until I can't do it anymore. As R.C. Sproul said, I'll keep preaching until they pry my Bible from my cold, dead hands. Heavy. But we think about legacy. So when we're first starting out, and there's people that we really admire. When I say first starting out, so I got into ministry, surrendered to ministry, I should say, back at the age of 19. And there were people that were really influential on me. And I was very thankful for that. And as it went on, I got to be where it's like, man, I'd love to be that for other people. I don't know if it was a pride thing or if I was really wanting to pour into people. So I started writing a lot of blogs and posting a lot of provocative things on Facebook. And I kind of wanted to be that guy. And over time, you begin to see celebrities, celebrity pastors. They begin to fall away for various reasons. And I began to look internally and began to evaluate. And Spirit was really helpful to me in showing me, some of the motives that I had behind that. And was I always looking out there and not being content in what God has for me here? Because you will have people that will pour into you good things, but you'll also have people that will pour into you bad things. Why are you still at that church? Why are you still doing this? At every church that I've been at has been a little bit smaller, and it's always been the guys that have had little bigger churches that have been like, hey, so how much longer are you going to be there? And I think what happens is that we can get so caught up on our legacy. What impact and what imprint are we going to leave on other people's lives? That we begin to look at the people who have a big platform. That this platform is what's going to be able to help you to leave a legacy. And if you don't have that, then you're not going to have much of one. And I mentioned at the end of the service, maybe last week or week before, I just remember one time that, we all have a circle of influence. And what we've talked about it at our church is friends, relatives, associates, which is really co-workers, neighbors, strangers that we come across. We all have that circle of influence. And so that circle of influence is where that sphere is where we yield our influence for good or for bad, and they yield that influence on us. So the question is, what kind of influence are we leaving? What kind of legacy? So if you're worried about your legacy, well, I think in ways it's a good thing if you keep it in perspective. If you're worried about a legacy like, well, I haven't written the great American novel, I haven't, preached to 1 million people, I haven't done this and I haven't done that, and nobody's going to remember me after I die. Well, you're in that with most people. Most people are going to be like that. But if you can have a godly, Christ-centered, word-driven, caring, compassionate influence on the people that are in your life, if you're the encourager, if you're the builder-upper, if you're the ones that, when something's happening with one of your friends, man, you're the first one that's there. That's a legacy. That's a legacy worth thinking about, and it's a legacy worth leaning into. That's why oddly enough, that's why I think funerals sometimes are so important to us, because it makes us think about our own mortality. And there are times when we may look at the guy that's up on stage that's being remembered, memorialized, eulogized, and we may look at them and we may think, my goodness, I could have done some of those things in my life better. I could have done this a little bit better. Or, whoa, I need to improve on that. Or whoa, I'm glad I wasn't like that. You see, God brings things along our way all the time to help us to be reminded of that we need to be the ones that, when we're talking about a legacy, that we are leaving a good influence on someone that is grounded in the scriptures and grounded on the love and compassion and the truth of Christ. So what was a legacy for me that somebody poured into me? Mom and Dad took me to church every single Sunday. They did not look at our church and say, wow, there wasn't a lot of young people there, we're not going to go. No, they found the church. And even though I was the only guy in the youth group, and soon we had some more, they took me to church. They showed me the value of tithing every single Sunday. And there were times when it was really tight with Cindy and me. But we always tithed. And Cindy had that same conviction as well, so we never had that. Mom and Dad left a legacy of having a joint bank account where they were together and everything. I had a pastor, Chris Whaley, down in Florida, who was one who just really cared for his people and made sure that he was studying well, and gave me an opportunity to engage in ministry early on. And I could go on, but as I look back, those are good examples. Now, I could also look back on bad examples and say, well, I don't want to leave a legacy like that. All right, so we're having our worship this morning, and hey, you want to leave a legacy with somebody, not only come to church, invite somebody. They might come. And praise God. If they don't, then, just keep inviting, keep planting those seeds. But you're going to be around them Monday through Saturday. Don't write them off because they won't come to church with you on Sunday. Keep at it. Keep helping them. But whatever you eat, whatever you drink, whatever you do to the glory of God. That's the legacy. Are you thinking about that? Good. You should be. Take care, everybody.